This is from 2 Chronicles 20, verse 21, which I promise is smaller now than it was before. And when he had taken counsel with the people, he, Jehoshaphat, King Jehoshaphat, appointed them that should sing unto Jehovah and give praise in holy array. And they went out in front of the army, giving thanks to Jehovah for his loving kindness that endures forever. Do you really believe that story? That here is the small group of the Hebrew people going into battle, and they have the 3 armies around them, and they're marching into this valley, and they send people in front to sing. That's what the Bible says. I don't know that that's a fact. The Bible says they won. But I believe it's a truth. I believe that there is a great truth in there that you and I can use. And it's that attitude of gratitude. It's that thank you, thank you. It's giving thanks in advance. Now, for the last 5 weeks, we have been using this little book called The Lazarus Blueprint. And I purposely picked it. I picked it because it's little. There's not a lot of fluff. It's very clear, it's very concise, and it's only $12.95. And what I want to tell you is that if you're not in the middle of a situation in your life right now, there's a good chance that you will be. And when you are, this is the book for you. The authors, Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola, have written about the story of Lazarus. So do we all know what the story of Lazarus is? It's where Jesus is notified by his friends. He's called by his friends Mary and Martha to come, and because Lazarus is ill, and then he doesn't go immediately, and he gets there and he raises Lazarus from the dead. And so out of that story, our authors have developed 6 steps. And so I'm kind of reminding you each Sunday of what those steps are. And the reason why is that I want to, when we get to the 6th step, I want you to be able to recite them. I want you to be able to remember them so that when you're in that situation or that circumstance, you can remember the steps. Or remember at least to pull the book out. And the first step, does anybody remember what the first step is? Turn away. Perfect. Turn away. What did Jesus do when they came and told him? He didn't do anything. He didn't rush. And the lesson for us is that when something's going on out here, we shouldn't get all wrapped up in what's going on out here. We need to step back. Take a deep breath. Turn our attention away. It's hard to do, but it's the first step. And so, now, does anybody remember what the 2nd step is? Remove the stone. Somebody's been doing their homework. And the stone is whatever obstacle is in our life. And generally speaking, the obstacle is not out there. Generally speaking, the obstacle is in here. And it's some belief, attitude, idea, or thought that we have that is holding us back. And others can help us uncover those beliefs and attitudes when they reflect back to us, when they say, do you mind hearing something? You know, you're always saying this. Have you noticed that? But generally, the work is done where? It's done within. We're the ones responsible. And those obstacles, those stones will stay there until we do the work. And so last week's lesson was great expectations. It's what we expect. What we expect. And I can tell you that expectation, how often do you misuse expectations? How often do you worry? Are there any other worriers in here? Did any of you have worrier parents? You know, particularly for those of us who our parents came out of the Depression, it was always a worry that something was going to happen, some disaster was going to happen. And so today, our lesson is on upfront thanks. Now, all of us know about giving thanks after something happens. That's common courtesy, right? But upfront thanks. And that's what Jehoshaphat did in the story, King Jehoshaphat. He gave thanks for the victory. He praised God, and sure enough, they won. Jesus. The story says, Jesus looked upward and said, Father, I thank you for having heard me. I know that you always hear me. Quite a few little things in there. First thing that Jesus did is he looked where? Upward. Now, he was not looking up for, it doesn't mean he was looking up to a God in the sky. What it means is he was taking his eyes off the stinky tomb. Off of the appearance. I have a quote for you. This is from Parker Palmer in Let Your Life Speak. It says, when you encounter a closed door, turn your back to it and look at the wide range of possibility that has just opened up to you. Because as long as you're beating on that door, there is no other possibility. So looking upward means getting our ego out of the way, taking those old thoughts and beliefs and setting them aside. And then, thank you for having heard me. Thank you for having heard me. Now, does it do anything to God when we say thank you? Do you think that this universal mind and presence that we call God gets its ego stroked when we say thank you? Who does saying thank you help? Us. It's the only reason we say thank you is to condition ourselves. In the Bible it says, in everything give thanks. So in the meditation, I invited you to think of someone that you loved and to feel that feeling. Could you do that? So just for a second, go back to that place. Take a deep breath and think about that person you love. And say thank you to them and experience that feeling of appreciation and gratitude. that same place, think of something that you want in your life that is not there now. Maybe it's health, maybe it's wholeness, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a home, maybe it's a baby, maybe it's, I don't know what it is for you. And say thank you for that. Get that feeling of thank you for that. And bring your attention back. Could you get the same feeling of thank you around what hasn't happened yet as you could around that which you're already thankful for? Some of you can. And some of you are going, not so much. And where I find that is when you're sitting in my office and you're telling me that the doctor has just told me that you have stage 4 cancer, or that you're HIV positive, or that your spouse has left you, or that your boss has fired you, or that the stock market didn't do so good. You have a hard time getting to that thank you place. And I know that. And so after I listen to you a little while tell your story, I try to move you out of your story, and I try to move you toward what you can give thanks for. And sometimes you won't come with me, but sometimes you do. If there's some little part of you that's sick and ill, then there's some more part of you that is well. If there's some area that you're experiencing lack in, then there's some area where you're experiencing abundance. Even if it's only an abundance of junk mail. It is that act of feeling abundance. It is that act of getting that feeling of abundance, because every time you feel gratitude, you're telling your body, you're telling your mind. Somewhere in here I wrote down some number, and I don't know where I wrote it. It was the number of cells in your body. Here's a quote from Eric Butterworth. Giving thanks is an important state of consciousness that keeps you in an awareness of oneness with divine flow. When you understand this, you see that a grateful heart does not even need something to be grateful for. One can be grateful with the same spontaneity as being happy. It simply flows forth from within and becomes a causative energy. Charles Fillmore says, when you speak with power and confidence, when you speak with faith, you are broadcasting your thoughts as instructions to yourself and to the universe. This is what I want. This is my vision. And so when we think about that statement about Jesus, he said out loud, he gave thanks. And that's kind of a little key for us. When you stand in front of the mirror, it's not just enough to think it. You need to say it. You need to hear yourself saying it. Your body, those trillion cells that we have, and I don't remember how many trillion cells it is always listening. And we get the opportunity every day to tell. And so when you give thanks for your health, I am so thankful for my health. What are you telling your body? You're healthy. I am so thankful that I remember all the names. I'm telling my body, you remember those names now. Thankful. I am thankful. Being thankful is a consciousness conditioner. Just like we shampoo and then we put conditioner on our hair, saying thank you is a conditioner for your mind. It's one of those things that helps overcome. It's one of those things that works when you've got all those beliefs, attitudes, ideas, and thoughts that are coming up. Saying thank you is one of the ways you shortcut and short-circuit those attitudes and beliefs. In the book it suggested that we might want to fake it until we make it. And I thought, I don't know. But as I read, what the author said was what we know, is that every time you do something, you build a neural pathway. So every time you say thank you for something, even if it's something that's not materialized yet, you're building that neural pathway until one day you're saying thank you, and the next day you're saying thank you, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I really am thankful. And you realize what I'm thankful for has come to pass. So this week I invite you to be thankful. If you can remember any of our songs, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting better every minute. Or I've got an attitude of gratitude. This week, be thankful. Thank you.